fields here, they're empty. Why?
Because of the demining.
So there's these potentially haven't been scanned for landmines, so they might have mines in them.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah. So this is one of the big problems in Ukraine, not just with the counter-offensive and the volume of mines that the assault teams are facing, but the Russians seem to have a never-ending supply of landmines that they particularly keen to place in civilian areas. So be it mining every single field so farmers get blown up when they go and try and feed not just Ukraine but most of the world, but also they're also experts at placing landmines in between people's houses as well. So just so that in case you want your children to go outside, they get hurt. They don't really care about that, do they, Mikita?
No, they don't. We had many cases, like when we found the mines after the liberation of the Kyiv region in the big cities such as Irpin, or even in the settlements, on the toys, in the toys, under the beds, any kind of locations.
Yeah, so you heard that, right? That they will put anti-personnel mines and explosives inside people's houses and bedrooms so that it would kill people's children when they returned home. There's also been the quite famously shared picture, I think recently on the internet, of the school crossing, like little man thing that you get at each side of the road, where they've put an anti-personnel mine in the face of that thing as well. Just so that when you're going across the road you're going to get blown up, because that's what you do to civilians if you're a Russian. Whereabouts are we now?
Nimishaivo is the name of the settlement and the territorial community. It was also occupied, but it does not have those amount of destructions, like no destructions at all, to be honest, maybe a few buildings.
Yeah.
Because they occupied it and there were no fights over here.
Okay. So the defense was in the other locations.
The defense lines was on the other locations.
Yeah.
Closer to Bucha, to Irpin, and somehow in Baradanka as well.
Yeah.
And of course the work of the artillery.
Yeah. So the residents of this place, in the grand scheme of things, have been able to actually return to their houses and them still be standing. You can see that life is ongoing here. For anyone that hasn't been to Ukraine, and you'll no doubt visit at some point soon, excellent petrol stations in Ukraine, very well stocked with everything. If you compare it to if you go to an English petrol station where you'll get completely ripped off for absolute shit, you can come here and actually eat very healthily.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can kit yourself up in all the Zelensky gear in most of them and rock around looking like a budget Zelensky, as I've done at various times. I think the Zelensky presidential sweatshirt look is definitely an exportable designer look as well. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, petrol stations here are amazing.
They are. They're like...
So you can get anything, even alcohol, like anything there.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I remember...
Food, everything.
It is genuinely incredible, the quality of stuff in petrol stations. It is insane.
Because Ukrainian people love service. They like to pay for a good service. And me especially, like when I'm going to a restaurant, for me service is the priority number one. Because you're paying for this, so it must be a good service.
That is true, actually. I don't think I've been to any restaurant really where you're not well looked after, regardless of where it's been or the type of food or cuisine or the price point of it. Almost, you do get looked after, even if you, like me, are fairly incapable of speaking any other language. Whereas, you know, if you're an English person going to France and you did that, they just would ignore you or sneer at you. Whereas people in Ukraine are very, very accommodating and nice.